Unit 2, Lesson 3, more about the constant of proportionality. I can find missing information in a proportional relationship using a table. I can find the constant of proportionality from the information given in a table. So let's take a look at our first one. We're looking at centimeters and millimeters, part 1. So there is a proportional relationship between any length measured See, it even happens to my iPad, guys. So, between any length measured in centimeters and the same length measured in millimeters. So there are two ways of thinking about this proportional relationship. Okay, so I need to figure out what that is. So it's 1 to 10, right? So 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. So if I wanted to figure out what 9 centimeters is, I'm going to multiply by 10. So I get 90. I'm going to multiply by 10 and I get 125. Multiply by 10 and I get 500. Multiply by 10 and I'm going to get 884.9 millimeters. So what is the constant of proportionality? What did I multiply by each time? 10, because for every 1 centimeter, there are 10 millimeters. So constant proportionality is how much for 1. So that's always what you're thinking about. So this is the second part. If you know the length of something in millimeters, calculate its length in centimeters. So now I have to work backwards, right? So they're giving me millimeters and I want to find the centimeters. It's really important to watch your unit of measure. So I'm going to divide by 10 or multiply by 1/10. I know a lot of you are afraid of fractions, but it's the same thing. It's multiplying by 1/10 or dividing by 10 is the exact same thing. So this would be 7, 24.5, 0.4, 69.91. Each time you're either dividing by 10 or multiplying by 1/10. So what is the constant of proportionality? 1/10. Because 1 millimeter is 1/10 of a centimeter. How are these two constants of proportionality related to each other? So the first one was 10 and the second one was 1/10. So they are reciprocals. And the one way I can show that is by changing my whole number to a fraction. So reciprocals, remember from elementary school, are your fraction flipped upside down. So it's putting the numerator in the denominator in the numerator. So it's kind of like what we do when we're dividing fractions. So it says, complete each sentence. To convert from centimeters to millimeters, you can multiply by 10. To convert from millimeters to centimeters, you can divide by 10 or multiply by 1/10. Okay? Practice problem 1. Noah is running a portion of a marathon at a constant speed of 6 miles per hour. So they want to know, they want us to fill in the table. So in 1 hour, he can go 6 miles per hour. In half an hour, he can go 3 miles per hour. So let's think. So if I want to get from 3 to 1.5, well, 3 and 1.5, that's dividing by 2. So I'm going to divide this side by 2. And I get 1/4. So 1/4 of an hour, I can run 1.5 miles. Think about it. 1/4 of an hour is 15 minutes. That's really fast. Okay, so I'm going to switch colors so that it doesn't get too confusing. And I've got to think, what do I multiply 1 by to get 1 1/3? I'm going to multiply by 1 1/3. So I'm going to multiply 6 by 1 1/3. So I'm going to get my handy dandy calculator out. And remember, 1/3 is a whole bunch of threes, so you want to fill your calculator with 1.33333, keep going, and then multiply by 6. So you should get 8. All right, so then if I'm thinking about my relationship in another way, so now I'm trying to get from 3 to 9, that I could multiply by 3. So 1/2 times 3 would be 3/2, or 1.5 hours. And then if I wanted to get to 4.5, how would I get to there? Oh, I can see that. So 9 divided by 2 gets me to 4.5. So I would do 1.5 divided by 2. So I'm going to use again my handy dandy calculator. 1.5 divided by 2, and I get 0.75, or 3/4. So you can use the fractions, you can use the decimals, whatever works for you. Practice problem 2. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So if I have 1,000 kilometers equals 1 meter, I want to figure out, how do I get from 1,000 to 250? Well, I'm dividing by 4. So that would be 1/4. So then if I wanted to figure out how to get to 12, well, I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that, so I'm going to go for 1. So I'll divide by 1,000. So I'll divide this side by 1,000. And I get point. So then if I want to go and get 12, multiply by 12. Multiply by 12. So again, I'm going to need my handy dandy calculator. So I get 0.012. All right, so then it says, now you're going from kilometers to meters. So you have to think, what am I multiplying by? So I'm multiplying by 1,000, right? So this side, I was really dividing by 1,000. This side, I'm going to multiply by 1,000. So that would be 5,000. This one would be 20,000. And this one would be 300. So what does the constant of proportionality tell us? So the constant of proportionality in this case is divide by 1,000 or multiply by 1 over 1,000, right? What does it tell us? That 1 kilometer is equal to, that 1 meter equals 1,000th of a kilometer. In the other one, so in this one, our constant of proportionality is multiplying by 1,000. What does it tell us? That 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. What is the relationship between the two constants of proportionality? So you have 1 over 1,000 or 1,000 over 1. They're again reciprocals, meaning that the fractions are flipped. So it's a proportional relationship. No matter which way you go on the table, it's going to be the same because you're working up and down the table at the same proportional relationship rate. Jada and Lynn are comparing inches to feet. So inches to feet. So I know there are 12 inches in 1 foot. Jada says the constant of proportionality is 12. Lynn says it's 1/12. Do you agree with either of them? Explain your reasoning. Well, so let's go the other way. So if there are 12 inches in 1 foot, that means 1 inch is equal to 1/12 of a foot. So do I agree with them? Yes, I agree with both. 12 and 1/12 are reciprocals. Which means they're looking at the relationship in the same way. So they're looking at the inches and the feet in the same way. So 1 inch is equal to 1/12 of a foot, which is the same as 12 inches is equal to 1 whole foot. So now you have your cool down. Here's your image. You want to go onto Canvas and see what the question is. And since we've been drawing all over our keynote today, you need to be drawing all over your keynote for your cool down. If you're just reading it and clicking on one, that's not going to be super helpful. Then I need you to submit this as a PDF. Remember, there's extra practice on Khan Academy, Mr. Morgan's help. You can contact your study buddy, or you can set up an appointment with me on Calendly, and I'll be glad to work with you.